Welcome to Indiana Football Weekly on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. Indiana Football Weekly is brought to you by BetNow.eu. To find out more about BetNow.eu, go to thegruelingtruth.com, click on the BetNow.eu banner at the top of the page, and when you go there, from now until September the 16th, you get a 100% cashback bonus on your first deposit by using the promo code TRUTH100. I am your co-host for Indiana Football Weekly, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in our Indiana beat reporter, Cole Hanna. How you doing, Cole?
I'm doing pretty good, Mike. Can't complain.
You seem like you had to think about it. Are you getting ready if IU beats Ohio State this weekend to go ahead and pack your bags for Pasadena in January?
Yeah, I've got my ticket booked. We're all set on that front. All we have to do is beat Ohio State. Not too big of a task there, but
And then Michigan
I'm all
and
set
Penn
when that
State
happens.
also. So.
Yeah, just a few roadblocks along the way. Nothing too serious.
But you have free housing because remember, Steve Risley on the basketball show said if the team ever goes to the Rose Bowl, he'd put us up for free.
Rose Bowl. I can stay with Steve. I got that working for me.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's almost like it's fated to happen,
Yeah. Instead of weekend at Bernie's, it'll be weekend at Steve's. And Steve listens to this show, so we're talking about him, so that makes him happy. All right, Indiana beat Eastern Illinois 52-0. So what did we learn? I think we learned this. I think that, everything at this game has to be viewed through a proper lens, so to speak. 52-0 over Eastern Illinois. They played very well. You have to look at who they were playing, but this is what we talked about last week when we picked a game. If it's 52-0, we feel a hell of a lot better about ourselves than if it's 35-17.
Yeah, exactly. And we mentioned it last week. You really just wanted to see them make some improvements from week 1 to week 2. Traditionally, teams make their biggest strides, in between weeks 1 and 2. And obviously a subpar performance against Ball State. You wanted to see them clean up some stuff going into Eastern Illinois. Like you said, you have to take the opponent into account. It's not the greatest quality of competition, but I thought they did clean up a lot of stuff. I thought we ran the ball better. Stevie Scott had 12 carries for 61 yards. I would still like to get the running game going a little bit better. It was definitely not up to the standard they set last season when Stevie Scott had that great year as a true freshman, but it was better than it was against Ball State. The missed tackles were, for the most part, not a problem throughout the afternoon, which was good to see since that was probably their biggest Achilles heel against Ball State in week 1. They cleaned that up, and they got the shutout on defense, right? I thought defensively was the shakiest aspect of our team week 1. Week 2, again, not a great offensive team relative to what IU's going to see moving forward, but it's a much, much better performance. And anytime you get a shutout, you can look back and be pretty, satisfied with what your defense gave you. But definitely, it's not going to prepare them for Ohio State. It's going to be a completely different beast next week. But definitely a much more encouraging performance than week 1, I thought.
All right, and I think redshirt freshman quarterback Michael Penix Jr., the key here is he isn't keying on one receiver in particular. He's just hitting the open guy. Senior Donovan Hale, who was a lesser-used target in the Hoosiers win over Ball State with just one catch for 16 yards. Classmate Nick Westbrook went for 100 yards that day. But against Eastern Illinois, Hale went for over 100 yards receiving for the first time in his career, bringing him 5 receptions for 110 yards. Westbrook didn't catch a pass. You also look down here, and a trend that I think is developing that's really good. And I've always said it, I've heard other people say it, but a young quarterback's best friend is a tight end. And part of Kalen DeBoer's scheme, I think, is to get the ball to tight ends. Peyton Hendershot has 9 catches in 2 games after leading the tight end group with 15 catches all of last season. And I think when you look at this, I think it is evolving the way that Coach DeBoer would want it to evolve, but you still have to question the competition that was played against Eastern Illinois.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, like you said, Peyton Hendershot's been a very, very good weapon for Indiana early in the season. He's got really good size, good athleticism to go along with it. It's 6'4", 255. Especially when you get down to the red zone. I know he had the touchdown reception against Eastern Illinois, but he's going to be a big target that Penix can rely on in the red zone when, you need 7 points. There's not many guys that can match up with him from a size and speed standpoint. Now, if there's a team that's going to have guys that can do that, it's going to be Ohio State with some of the freaks they have on the defensive side of the football. But definitely, Mike Penix is not picking out a guy and kind of zeroing in on one go-to guy. There's really not one receiving option Ohio State can look at and say, okay, we need to take this guy away, and we're good. I mean, he's been very, very good at spreading the ball out to different guys. Walt Philliers had a very good 2 games, I thought, coming out of the slot. They missed him down the stretch of last season. I don't think, a lot of people maybe didn't notice him when he was out the last 4 games because they did have some, pretty good receiving games when he was out. But now that he's back and healthy and playing good football, I think people realize, what he brings to the table and how just helpful that is to the offensive scheme. Again, like you said, the competition for Eastern Illinois is not going to be up to par to what IU is going to face going forward in the Big Ten, or even Connecticut's going to be a completely different animal from what Eastern Illinois was. But again, it's encouraging. The passing game continues to be outstanding. I thought week 1 it was very good outside of the 2 mistakes from Penix with the interceptions. Week 2 he improved, and even Peyton Ramsey got in and played very well. I think we need to give him a little bit of credit here. 13 to 14
record for a single game.
226 yards.
Yeah, I mean, he tore it up, and that was actually what I was going to bring up next. So, this is one team that if the starter goes down, you have somebody more than capable of leading this team.
Exactly. And, when the Big Ten, man, it just takes one hit and, a guy could go down for a few weeks. And Indiana has a guy now, Peyton Ramsey, not just based on what he did last year, but he steps into this game, into the first half, and 1 pass for 65 yards and a touchdown. Maybe not the most exciting pass, a little screen pass. Ronnie Walker did most of the work, but definitely encouraging that he comes in and plays, so well. And you feel for him because that is a guy that's been, playing pretty much starting now for 2 years, loses his spot to Penix, who's a redshirt freshman, but definitely encouraging that they do have not just one quarterback, but 2 quarterbacks. And that's been an area of concern for Indiana in the past where they really only had one quarterback. That guy goes down. There's not a whole lot to hit behind him. That's not going to be a worry this year. They have plenty of depth at that position, guys that can step in and play at a high level, and that's very, very encouraging to see.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at Indiana against Ohio State. What is it? Ohio State's won like the last 24 meetings or something? Is that right, or something like that?
Yeah, I believe it's the longest active streak in the country of any direct matchup between opponents. I believe Ohio State's the longest win streak for Ohio State of anyone.
Well, at least we got that going for us. So I think 2 storylines to monitor here is how will Kalen DeBoer's explosive offense translate against an elite defense? Because I think when you look at this, the passing game has been the main focal point for the offense thus far for the Hoosiers this season. They're averaging almost 400 yards passing per game, a little over 9 yards per attempt. It was several big plays under IU's belt already, including Nick Westbrook's 75 receiving yard touchdown against Ball State. I think that DeBoer, to win this game, the key to this game is to remain aggressive against Ohio State and let Penix just throw the deep ball and just go out to win this game, because the biggest concern here is when a team owns you 23, 24 times in a row is that mentally you're defeated before the game even starts. Now, my biggest concern of Ohio State is I watched them take a really good Cincinnati Bearcat team and just beat the hell out of them last week. And my concern here is this. I think skill position-wise, we are capable of moving the ball, scoring points against Ohio State. My question is when it comes to Indiana's offensive line blocking Ohio State's front 4.
Yeah, no, that's definitely going to be a huge area of concern moving forward. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Ohio State plays Indiana. I think through the first couple of weeks, Ball State and Eastern Illinois have both kind of put 8 guys in the box and try to stop Stevie Scott. And that's kind of, naturally factored into IU going with a pass-heavy offense and been successful. Now, that being said, even if you're facing 8 guys in the box like you are against Eastern Illinois or Ball State, you should be able to run the ball, I think, a little bit better than what they have. You play against Ohio State, it doesn't matter if they have 4 or 5 guys in the box. That's probably going to be tougher to run on than 8 guys in the box for Eastern Illinois. So they're going to have to figure that out. It's going to be very, very tough for Indiana to win this football game if they're just a one-dimensional offense passing the football. They need to get Stevie Scott going on the ground. The offensive line has been very, very good at protecting Penix. We have to give them credit there. You know, he's pretty much has not been – I believe he has not had a sack all year long through the first 2 games. So the offensive line has done a good job of protecting him. But, again, the quality of the competition is going to be something you have to factor in there. You know, Chase Young for Ohio State is an absolute monster coming off that edge, coming for Penix. They're going to have to figure out how to block that guy. That's going to be on Caleb Jones. This is his first year starting. He's going to have his hands full all game long trying to slow down Chase Young. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see if Ohio State adjusts and tries to, you know, play a little bit safer in the secondary and try to slow down Michael Penix passing the football, or if they continue to try to focus on Stevie Scott, make Indiana one-dimensional, and dare them to throw the ball deep over the top. And Penix has shown, like you said, he's willing to, you know, take those chances on those deep balls. He has a very, very strong arm. You know, the 75-yard pass to Westbrook you've mentioned. He's had a few others that were unfortunately dropped, or we could be talking about, you know, multiple deep passes for touchdowns. So that's going to be very, very interesting. I think, how's Ohio State going to play this? Are they going to respect the passing game, since that's been the vocal point of the Indiana offense, or are they going to continue to stop the running game and, you know, make Indiana be a one-dimensional offense?
The key to me to being able to keep Michael Penix clean in the pocket is this. How good is Stevie Scott and the other running backs? How good are they at blocking?
Exactly. Yeah, and Ronnie Walker Jr., I believe, is actually the guy that the Indiana coaching staff has said, this is our best blocking running back. This is the guy who, you know, when we need to, you know, get a chip on a guy on the edge, or we need to, you know, keep him back to protect the quarterback, that's the guy they go to. He only had 1 carry against Ball State, actually, in week 1, and was named one of the offensive players of the week because they like his passing or his ability to protect the quarterback in the backfield. So probably going to see, I think, you know, a bigger duty or bigger workload for Ronnie Walker in week 3, just because it's going to be so important that they protect Mike Penix. And, you know, he's got a cannon for an arm. He's got a great arm. He's got a great set of receivers, but they need to give him time that he can get the ball to those guys. And, you know, it's not going to be easy. Ohio State has a very, very, very good, you know, defensive front. Their front 7 is absolutely stacked. I mean, Chase Young, you know, 3 sacks through 2 games. Keeping those guys off Penix is going to be absolutely key.
Yeah, and the other thing, when you look at Ohio State's offense, you got Justin Fields, who's a dual-threat quarterback. You got J.K. Dobbins, who's one of the best running backs in the country. So the combination of Dobbins and Fields makes Ohio State extremely lethal, and it will be up to IU's defensive line to slow down the rushing attack. Now, do you expect that IU is going to put 8 guys in the box to stop the run game, maybe spy Fields, and see if Fields can beat him deep?
You know, I think that's what you have to do here. I mean, it really is a pretty, you know, it's tough to figure out exactly how to play an offense like Ohio State when you have a guy like Justin Fields that can run the ball so well. And, you know, he obviously had, I believe, a couple rushing touchdowns week 1, you know, almost 50 yards rushing week 2. But this isn't just a guy that can run the football. He's got a very, very strong arm, can throw the ball really well, and has thrown the ball really well through the first 2 weeks. J.K. Dobbins is one of the premier running backs in the country, and their offensive line is very, very good. I think you've got to put 8 guys in the box. You've got to stack the line of scrimmage. You have to stop the running game.
How about
That's,
this,
I think,
though?
the biggest key.
This?
Justin Fields, we know he's going to –
Hear me out.
Let's
if
hear
you
it.
put 8 men in the
Let's hear it.
box, you've got to play man coverage.
Yeah.
And if you play
coverage, I think that's fair.
If you play man coverage against Justin Fields, you're running DBs off, and you're going to give lanes for him to run. And I think the most important...
Yeah, well, they're probably going to have to keep it.
What was that?
I was going to say, I think that's probably something else they're going to have to do. They're going to have to keep a spy on Justin Fields, someone that's just going to kind of follow him around the field. You don't want to, you know, demoralize and have great coverage down the field and have him run for 20, 25 yards, pick up a first down.
Yeah, and I think the guy that is the most important here, which is a guy everybody had high hopes for, Marcelino Ball, and he was a potential breakout player at the start of this year. Hasn't done much. Has gotten a couple stupid personal fouls. He was benched at the start of the last game against Eastern Illinois. So Marcelino Ball if this Indiana defense has got any chance of stopping them, he's got to do something in this game. He's got to come up big for them to win. And I mean, really, when we look at it, if Indiana beats Ohio State, Indiana needs everybody to come up big. But I think Marcelino Ball is a guy here that absolutely has to step up.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's kind of he's a big body there at the Husky position. He can, he's unique in that he can move very, very well and can cover tight ends and receivers, but he's also very, very good at coming up and stopping the run. And to add on to that, I think Cam Jones is another guy at linebacker. Missed last week. His status is still up in the air for Ohio State, but he was the backup to Marcelino Ball at Husky last season. They moved him to linebacker this year. I think that's another guy that could have a very, very big role if he's healthy and good to go. I expect he will be, but he can move very, very well. He's got good size. He can disguise himself almost as a linebacker pretty much because he has linebacker size, 6'2", 235, but he can play as a DB because he has that athletic ability. And he is a special player. And Indiana moved him to linebacker because they wanted to find ways to get him on the field. So there's going to be guys like that can move, and probably are going to have guys like that having to spy on Justin Fields because of Fields' ability to both throw the football and run the football. It's a big, big challenge. Yeah, am I going in and out for you?
You did right there, but that's a
okay,
Skype
gotcha.
issue.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
keep going in and out here.
Damn Skype! Now it's live again.
Okay,
Go
but
ahead.
Anyway, so as I was saying, I think the issue here for Indiana, and looking back traditionally when they've played Ohio State these last few years, they've played them very tough, but what they've struggled with is when they get to the fourth quarter, Indiana's gassed, and it shows. And Ohio State pulls away in that fourth quarter. If you let them kind of dominate this game from a running standpoint, rip off 6 to 7 yard carries and just take
a game, which is a huge game on Saturday at noon for Indiana University. Trying to get Cole back on the line so we can go ahead and wrap the show up. But Cole's not answering the phone. Come on, Cole. But I want to remind everybody that later tonight, there you go. You there, Cole?
Yeah,
all
I
right.
am.
Make it quick so we get the hell out of here before it does it again.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know where you lost me at last, but just the general point I'm making here is that traditionally when you look at Indiana the last few years, when they've played Ohio State and played them tough, it's really been the fourth quarter when Indiana's gassed, Ohio State pulls away. So I think the big thing you've got to do here is make Ohio State beat you with their arm. Don't let them, run these big long.
All right, so if Indiana can make the explosive plays and limit Ohio State's explosive plays, I think they'll have a good chance to win this game. And I think Justin Fields and Jake Dobbins are a big point there. All right, Cole.
Having some trouble.
Cole, who are you picking to win this game? Let's get the hell out of here before it happens again.
Well, I want Indiana to win. I would love to see an IU win. I don't think they're going to have it in them this week, unfortunately. I think they'll play them tough. I'll go 48-34 Ohio State.
All right, I'll go 41-20 Ohio State, and then hopefully next week we'll be wrong, and we'll be talking about a 3-0 Indiana team headed to Connecticut, or headed to play Connecticut. Then we can talk about, maybe 7 or 8 wins this year. That would be nice, Cole.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a season for IU.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of
that.
that. We haven't had that since Bill Mallory, I don't think, and that was before you were even born. That might have been before you were even thought of, Cole.
we haven't had a season like that in my lifetime.
Yeah, we haven't.
Definitely not in my lifetime. We haven't had one.
Unfortunately,
I'd love to be able to see one.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, the last time I had a season like that, I was probably in my early 20s, and now I'm 50, so it's been a while. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this show up because we can't keep Cole on air more than a minute now anyways. Skype issues. Damn you, Skype. Me and Cole will be back to review the Ohio State game and preview Connecticut next week. Make sure you check us out at 8 o'clock Eastern on thegruelingtruth.com. You can hear us live on thegruelingtruth.com or on Spreaker. Make sure you go to betnow.eu. Use the promo code of TRUTH100 to get a 100% cash back bonus on your first deposit up to $500. We're done for now. I said for a reason, Cole, and you know what that reason is. But you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher. Hopefully nobody else will figure it out. And Spotify and 200 other places where you can hear sports podcasts. So for Cole Hanna, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.